Hey, so welcome everybody. So as you know, Maximo, which is now Manage, one of the components in the application suite, is a collection of many, many different applications. Now, you as a user perhaps have never seen the very long list of modules and applications that make up Maximo, which is now called Manage. So what we're going to do in this series is we're going to walk through each of the modules in the context of different areas of management, such as asset management, work management, purchasing, things like that. And so each part that we're going to do here will cover one of those areas. And we're going to look at all the modules and then the applications in each of the modules that are related to those. So, going to be rather lengthy videos. I'll put a lot of bookmarks in there so you can keep track of where you're at. And let's get started. So let's begin with some organization here. So during the series, we're going to cover all of the blue squares, certainly starting with asset management and work management. And then we'll work our way into inventory and purchasing, and then we'll wrap it up with analysis module and the administration module. So this particular part will be focused on the work management square. So let's get going on that. So work management begins with the identification of work. And the self-service module is usually the place where a lot of work is initially identified. So whether that is a request for service of some kind, something needs to be done, something is broken, there's an observed problem, that sort of thing. And then secondarily, there's also the opportunity for people to order things by way of desktop requisitions. So let's get that out of the way first. So the very first piece of the self-service module is a set of applications that are designed to request parts. Now this is not a purchase request, this is a request even prior to that, using the term a desktop requisition. And so by using those applications, a user is able to create a requisition, they can view existing requisitions, they can view any drafts that they might be working on at the time, and certainly the system administrators can provide templates to make the requisition of parts easier there. Service requests, this is where perhaps actual work is identified. And there's a couple of apps there, of course, the Create Service Request, which is where you would do just that very thing. If you wish to view the service requests that you as a user have created and see what their status is and such, then you would use the View Service Request application. Let me jump down to the role-based applications, and there is one called Service Request as well. And this role-based application, of course, can be on a mobile device and launched in a browser. You're basically able to do both viewing and creating from that single application. The Search Solutions application, when we get over to the Service Desk module, you'll see where solutions and problems are able to be created. Think of this as an FAQ database. Administrators can put in questions and answers into the solutions database, and so you can search those prior to putting in a request of some kind. The other thing to keep in mind about the self-service module as a whole is it is one of the modules that's available for no cost. There's no licensing or app points needed for the users to have access to the self-service module. So that is a nice thing to have. And that's pretty much it for the self-service module. So the Service Desk module is where your customer service people, your IT staff, perhaps even your maintenance supervisors would go and see all of the service requests that have been coming in from the self-service module. So incidents at the very top there, think of them as a special service request. And they can be processed slightly different than your typical service request. Certainly work orders can be generated from them as well. So that's an interesting application that you can use underneath the service desk. I'm going to group the problems application and the solutions application together. If you recall, over in self-service, there was a search solutions app, and this is where the service desk people can create those problems, the questions people may have, and the solutions to those questions. And then users can search in that database that we talked about. The activities and task application, we'll see that again when we go into the work orders module. But this is where you're able to see the variety of tasks and such that are actually on individual work orders. The service request application, this is where your IT staff, your customer support people would probably spend most of their time in reviewing the service requests that are coming in from the system. You're able to run the service request record through its life cycle, from new through being queued to being completed. This is also where you would create work orders based upon the service request that's coming in. So you've got full end-to-end management of a service request record within this particular application. And finally, the ticket templates application. This is where your customer service or IT help desk people can create templates that can be used when someone is creating a service request. So if you have very specific types of service requests and you have certain information that you want to gather depending on the situation, then you can establish these templates ahead of time, making it a lot easier for the users to create those SRs. And of course, make sure that you get the right information when you see it here. So that's the extent of the service desk module. Okay, so the work orders module. This is by far the busiest module in all of Maximo, and it has quite a number of applications in it. So I'm going to move through this one a little quicker. So the very first application, work order tracking, this is where all work orders are managed by supervisors, managers, field staff, whoever needs to make contact with a work order. This is where you manage them through their life cycle. This is where you plan them. This is where actuals can be entered. This is where you make assignments to crews and crafts and even people, or labor, I should say, as well. So this is by far the busiest application in all of Maximo. Labor reporting and quick reporting are simply alternative ways of reporting labor and looking at work orders and adding in the actuals, such as the materials used and labor and things like that. So labor reporting and quick reporting are simply alternative ways of entering information. Activities and tasks we already talked about in the service desk module. Assignment manager is an alternative way of assigning labor, people, your workers, to the different work orders and tasks and things like that. Service requests is just another link back over to the service request application that we just talked about. And again, I'm skipping the HSE here. And we go down to the role-based applications. So the role-based applications, in the context of work orders, you have quite a number of these that you can use. The technician, I'll do that one first because that's synonymous with work order tracking. That's where the technicians are able to see the work they need to do, report the work that they've done, and that sort of thing. Work approvals is where a supervisor can go in and approve work that needs to be accomplished. Inspections is the application that would be used if you're actually performing inspections. If you're assigned an inspection or an inspection is part of a work order that is within your technician realm, then you would see those inspections there as well. And then the very last one here I'll talk about, and I skipped service requests because we've already talked about that role-based application already. But work orders down here, this is a new application that has shown up in Manage. And it's basically a different representation of a work order. So it's somewhere between the traditional work order tracking app and the technician application as far as details go. This is also the application where you're going to start to see Watson X applied to do some error correction and failure reporting suggestions. And that's it in the work orders module.